Running an online business requires passion, knowledge, and a lot of dedication. Adding the complexities of setting up and managing hosting for your website piles on more work when you already have so many plates spinning. Whether you manage one WordPress website or dozens, Kinsta's managed solutions give you access to a platform that's optimized for the fastest speed, has enterprise-grade security features, and is powered by an intuitive custom dashboard with everything you need to manage your sites efficiently. Plus, Kinsta provides human-only WordPress expert support, which is available 24/7, 365 to assist with even the most complex sites. Forget frustrating AI chatbots. Kinsta gives you complete peace of mind by ensuring that your WordPress sites are always online, secure, and performing at their best. Start your journey with Kinsta today and get your first month free. Don't have time to migrate your site? Kinsta takes care of everything for you. Learn more at kinsta.com/podcast. That's KINSTA.com/podcast.
Welcome to the Beautifully Broken podcast, brought to you by AmpCoil. I'm your host, Freddie Kimmel, and on this show we discuss the common thread survivors share after walking through the fire, the practitioners making a difference, and the treatment modalities that deliver healing back into the hands of the people who need it most. Witness the inspiration we gain by navigating the human experience with grace, humility, and a healthy dose of mistakes. Because part of being human is being beautifully broken. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beautifully Broken podcast. This is take 2, as I often do when I start talking and I have this failure to come up with the right words. So I get frustrated and I push stop on the record button and I'll go back. And it's a bad habit, which is what this podcast is about. This podcast is about one habit. Let's just sidebar for a second. We take a little sidebar to the left. And it's funny to me when I record in the mornings because my voice is very, very low. There's a resonance in this voice. And it's between 7 a.m. and 9:30 p.m. And then it jumps up a couple octaves. So it's something I'm aware of, but I will giggle silently throughout the recording of this podcast because normally my voice is pitched a little higher. Anyways, one habit, right? We make these habits as human beings that hurt us, they help us, they move us forward, they hold us back, and keep us stuck in places we just don't belong. One of the most frustrating things in the whole world. But recently, someone had asked me or given me a task to write a passage for a book that is based around habits used by cancer thrivers. People have moved through cancer and are on the other side and are now thriving in their life. And I put this assignment off. It didn't resonate with me because I couldn't think of one habit. I have hundreds of habits that I do daily. It might make you feel stressed out and say that's a lot of upkeep, but for me, it really works. And so I put it off. I didn't write the assignment, and I got an email from Mr. Court Davies, and he said, "Freddie, I really need that story. I really need your one habit." I said, yeah, I'll do it this weekend. And that weekend went by and I didn't do it. And finally, I got another email and said, "Are you really going to not submit your true heart's desire, your wish to pass on to another person going through the cancer experience?" So I set a date. I crossed out 24 hours and I said, I'm going to write this habit. And it was really challenging for me. And I think that's why I put it off because, again, one thing, it's tough. And all of a sudden, this bell went off in my head. I'm looking at this question to start. What is your one habit? There's that low voice. What is your one habit that you would offer to a person going through cancer? And it just downloaded into my brain. Create a human experience operating manual. As a fan of transformational technology and some of these biohacking elements that I bring in, PEMF, frequency, red lights, you could even count an ice bath. Cold therapy, cryotherapy is a little more transformational tech. I often jump right in and I go. I want to turn it on. I want to put the thing on me and I want to press play. I am not a big instructions person because I think it's an attention span thing. I think the trend towards a little ADHD, high energy, hard to focus, rein me in is difficult. But then when I'm in like Rain Man, right? I'm counting those 352 and, it's 354 matches dropped on the floor when I see the box fall. So that is a reference to Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise in Rain Man. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really good. But I've got to rein it in. Reading the manual. Oh, let me tell you, there's a lot of things in my life that I've had for years and years and years. And I went back and I read the manual and I got like 80% more benefit out of it. And really, that's what I'm doing when I do all these podcasts and I talk about all these little health and wellness tips to raise the body's vibration. I'm independently and without knowing creating this human experience operating manual. And I'm always redefining my truths that are going to make me work better, function better, with more joy and less pain. So, without further ado, why is this habit, creating a human experience operating manual, important for cancer patients? So, it's important to me, especially, to redefine what it means to feel vibrantly healthy based on your personal barometer of wellness, and not of what it means to the general public. This is you. In my experience, cancer and chronic illness are not unfortunate events, or they're not even shitty circumstances that fall into your lap. I see them as teachers. I just looked up to the heavens, called in for some serious reprogramming of our lifestyle choices. When I stumbled, and I do mean stumble, into an emergency room at 26 years old, I knew in my heart of hearts I held a degree of responsibility for the 9 tumors that had grown around my organs. I had 9 lymph nodes, tumors wrapping around my kidney, my vena cava running to my heart. It was a scary situation. And those ER doctors, I remember they told me, Freddie, lifestyle has nothing to do with your current situation. However, through my journey, I came to discover the food that I ate, the way that I did not process emotions, my sleeping habits, and my closed-minded view of the world, even my genetic strengths and weaknesses, played a huge role in the state that I found myself in. Now, as human beings on planet Earth, we are positioned to experience life through the teachings and guidance of those who have come before us. The food we eat, the way we interact with others, the time we spend in nature, the chemicals we breathe or clean air, how we respond in a fight, the way we live, the way we love, the way we die is often information or behavior that's been passed down. These pre-existing cultural and social norms don't always serve or yield the vibrancy necessary to move through life, much less cancer with grace. The way we operate should really come with a human experience operating manual for the best possible 100 years on the planet. And you, my friend, are 100% responsible for creating that manual. Not your parents, not your doctors, not your partner, you. So how would you best incorporate this new habit if you were a current cancer patient? So I view the body as a supercomputer. It's made to store information and to learn. Most importantly, the body is a collection of systems, and we need to understand and respect a systems approach when thinking about total body wellness. Remember, we want all systems online to move through any diagnosis, especially one of cancer. And with this in mind, I created a roadmap of all the ways information is found its way into the body or my supercomputer. So through light, water, sleep, nutrition, stress perception, breathing, love, community, communication. Believe me, I could make a list of 20 items. But these are my top. And optimizing one of these could create a shift in energy and awareness, but upgrading all of them, upgrading all of those items creates unlimited potential. In a world drowning in information, but starving for true knowledge, I looked to the thought leaders putting these upgrades into practice and seeing results. I looked for wisdom. I looked for humans who were thriving in an increasingly challenging world designed by you and me. and I sought unbiased information to optimize each pathway. Experts like Tim Ferriss, Ben Greenfield, Joe Dispenza, Sage Rader, Mark Hyman. These were my go-to from the field of self-experimentation and wellness, offering research-based guidance. I've got some others too. I've got some great guides in my immediate circle. Women like Tracy Harrison and Carmen Hunter and the Biohacking Babes podcast. Eugene Sambataro, Kathy Wheelahan. I've got these tribe members. But these mentors that I first mentioned, they formed like this life university, and I would pull from them to create my own platform. I then gave myself a score from 1 to 10, 10 being perfect, on how each area was being addressed in that list I mentioned. If I placed the filter of what does a level 10 quality look like, how would things shift? Well, let me tell you, I'm going to give you a great example, because when I started making changes, I was failing in pretty much every single one of those. I mean like a 1 or 2 out of 10. Let's just take food as an example. It was so poor that any change would have been marvelous. This was the guy grabbing double egg and cheese biscuit sandwiches from the Golden Arches with double hash brown on his way to chemotherapy. Moving to a whole food diet, slowing down while I ate, eating in a calm environment with friends, boosting levels of oxytocin, it allowed me to not only enjoy the meal, but to process the nutrition so my body could assimilate the information and use it to build a better me. My inflammation went down dramatically when I changed to a whole food diet. Dramatically. That was my evidence that this biohacking movement had something to it. What I put into the system changed the output. I felt better. I recovered quicker. Definitely recovered quicker from the 6 surgeries I had. Another example I can offer is light. Remember, light is information in waves and particles that the body processes and in turn makes magical things happen. It's not just to find your keys in the dark. Getting the first 2 hours of sunlight is paramount to resetting your natural circadian rhythm, as well as a driving factor of vitamin D. You can also add artificial wavelengths if morning's not your thing. Artificial wavelengths of light from these little commercial light boxes, like Light Path to Wellness, that deliver 660 nanometer and 810 nanometer wavelengths that aid in fighting inflammation and assist in microcirculation. Listen, if mornings aren't your thing, which they aren't for me, it's a real struggle. This is the way to make your human operation manual work for your body and your life. Trust me, there's a way to make it work for you. Here's another one. Deep sleep is also affected by the amount of unnatural blue light coming from our phones and our screens and our computers, which blunts melatonin production, a direct factor in the body's ability to fight tumor cells and detox the brain, the lymphatic system. It's a very important factor of wellness. Also, lowering the temperature of my sleeping environment by cracking a window increases my periods of deep sleep and recovery. Again, if you don't have that option, you could order some biotech called the Chili Pad. But again, these things lower inflammation. The body's system works better. Changing these factors and altering my interaction with the world drastically changed my energy and my mood. What goes up from there? My immune system function, which I've seen reflected in my standard white blood cell count. So in this way, I moved through all the ways my supercomputer gathered information from the world and made tweaks to maximize how I learned, how to better navigate the world with less pain, more joy. I slowly learned what worked for me and started to compile this list or a set of operating instructions that complemented how the body was designed, always using nature as the guiding principle. That's the key for me. Once you know where the bumper lanes are in your game of bowling, it's really easy to create. And once you start to make a few alterations to the existing system and see new results, this process becomes addicting. It's fun to upgrade. It's like putting new parts on your car and getting better performance. So here's our next question for this assignment. What's my unhabit? What's the habit that I would have cancer patients unprogram from the body that would help them? Number one, this was so easy for me. This literally flowed out in like 5 minutes. Stop the blame game. Why is this habit important to cancer patients? Because blaming others, bad doctors, a misdiagnosis, or a circumstance for your current health situation takes away your power. It's energy that needs to be directed towards your heart and your healing. The acid burns the vessel more than anyone you could pour it on. When I first found myself in the ER with tumors, I quickly found my thoughts traveling back to a doctor's visit 3 months before. I had found a lump on my left testicle, and a doctor had told me it was not cancer. He said cancer doesn't hurt. It was probably an infection. Well, I could go on to all the reasons and all the things that are wrong with this situation, but it's not why I'm sitting here with you guys. When I tell this to the audience, someone eventually asks if I've sued the hospital or made my $1 million from this horrible misdirection. I did not. I never thought about it. He was wrong, and still, I had hundreds, actually thousands of moments when the pain in my body was offering divine whispers to change something or to get a second opinion. I, Freddie Kimmel, chose to ignore them. The ability to deny my body's own internal compass was an incredible learning experience. And it was far more important and valuable than holding hate towards a doctor I saw for 10 minutes. I was only focused on getting through cancer. I wanted to get up. I wanted to move forward. And I needed to focus all of my energy on healing. Own 100% of your 50%. Reverend Kathy Wheelahan and Lori Young. Energy matters. And the us versus them. Oh, we see this a lot in social media. That narrative doesn't complement a body in search of true healing or happiness or joy. Own your role in your great ever unfolding journey, the highs and the lows. You got to own them both. So after seeing many friends and family members transition to different planes of existence after cancer, the short nature of life, that's what sits with me every day. That's what I think about constantly. I feel as time goes by that this idea that creating or doing anything to forever change the human race, that's filled with a lot of ego. Dynasties rise and fall. Companies come and go. Great works of art, they're going to crumble to dust. But the goal, the prize, the true measures in life are the emotional exchanges between men, women, and anyone identifying as anything that makes you smile, driven by love and compassion. In my humble opinion, we are here to learn. We're here to have a human experience. Take complete ownership of your journey, because it's the most powerful thing you can do. And how you react to the outside world is the only thing you have control over. Sick or well, rich or poor, strong or weak, every day we have the power and the awareness to be the reason someone regains faith in the human race. Namaste. Ladies and gentlemen, you made it to the end of the podcast. Now, in a world where the average attention span is less than 10 seconds, we just spent almost an hour together. And I think this is the beginning of something really beautiful. Now, one way to support the podcast is to head over to FreddieSetGo.com and check out my newly launched page, Freddie's Faves, where I've linked every 5-star product and healing modality you hear about on the show. Most offer significant discounts by clicking the link. And please note, it doesn't cost you anything extra, and at the same time, they support the show through affiliation. So check out Freddie's Faves on FreddieSetGo.com. This episode of the Beautifully Broken podcast was brought to you by our sponsor, AmpCoil, upgrading the vibrations of hearts, minds, and bodies all over the world. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's show, head over to iTunes and leave a 5-star review. Grabbing a download is like giving this virtual thumbs up that we're doing it right. And if you want to connect with me, shoot me a message on Instagram at freddiesetgo.com or at freddiesetgo. That's all for today. Our closing. The world is hurting. We need you at your very best. So take the steps today to always be upgrading, whatever it takes to move the needle. Remember, while life is pain, putting those fractured pieces back together is a beautiful process. I'm your host. I love you. Namaste. Have a wonderful day.